Hi, this is Therese Davis. I'm here with Jessie Woletz, and we're going to talk about arts and capital.
I am a singer in a community choir, Conspiracy of Venus.
I am Hannah Young. I am a dancer, choreographer, and fundraiser in the Bay Area.
Hi, I'm Matutat. I'm a dancer and choreographer based in San Francisco.
I am Jocelyn Reyes, and I'm a dancer, choreographer, and teaching artist based in San Francisco.
My earliest memories involved being an artist and just being involved in some form of expression. So it's basically it's been something that I've been to for my whole life.
I don't really think I had a choice. Kind of like what Momo was saying, art was just something I did regardless of the medium from starting from probably the second I was born.
Being an artist and musician was a natural for me because I started when I was so young. And once I heard my first recording of Chopin by Rubinstein, I couldn't stop playing the piano. So they had to get me lessons so I could develop.
I grew up dancing with my family. I went to a lot of Latin dance parties, and so in those parties we learn how to dance cumbia and merengue and salsa and bachata and reggaeton. It's you have to know those dances when you go to a party. So I learned from my mom and my dad and my aunts and our friends.
I guess I feel like I've always kind of just been pursuing art, and I've in some capacity or another, and what it looks like just changes and morphs over the years.
Well, I came to dance after a whole tizzy of trying out different sports and physical activities. I know I liked being physical. I loved to run when I was little, and I know I always beat everybody in our junior Olympics in elementary school because my legs are really long.
Money is only one form of energy that I'm continually trying to improve my relationship with at times.
Money is weird to me. I struggle with it.
Ebbed and flowed prior to shelter in place.
Good at accounting for my money, and I'm constantly concerned about where it's going to be coming from.
Very much so. I think all of us have felt, especially in the past 2 months, maybe it is, kind of like a starvation of our art.
I find that it's very, very much so valued and appreciated. And I think I mentioned in my other question that I feel that we are using more currencies than money. So a lot of times the appreciation is one of the forms of commerce or capital for people who don't have a lot of money, but they do have a lot of gratitude and grace for arts.
I think that it's both vibrant and invisible. There's this duality to it. I mean, in the Bay Area specifically, the techies have taken over. It's not really a new thing. And if you talk to them, they express interest in the arts in the Bay Area. But there seems to be a block in how to get to it. If you put a giant marble down my throat and it dropped right into the center of my stomach and added 5 pounds to me, that's kind of how it feels.
I made a little bit. I made a little bit of capital through my art firm recently, but most of the work that I've done has either been pro bono or if I'm choreographing and I'm working with other artists, I certainly don't make anything out of what I create. My relationships so far have been a great resource for allowing me to continue creating.
I've built capital by supporting other people's art, collaborating, and being a coach and investing time and money in various art forms. So I coach people who are wanting to make changes or level up their processes and practices as artists or activists, or just as people who are in the world. So I do life and creative coaching. A lot of the Bay Area capital comes from other forms than money. The past 10 years, I've seen more dedicated changes and things that change makers are dedicated to be impacted by building like stronger administrative sectors and people just kind of getting the skills to elevate their arts.
I had a really hard time separating what I can consider capital in my art form and what is my privilege. So I think time and space are the two that I feel like I have control over to build out my capital.
I feel like the only way I've been able to is through teaching dance, house managing for shows, cleaning spaces, mostly a lot of house managing, sometimes, running tech in order to get studio space. So I definitely don't make money from like the actual like putting on shows and choreography part.
I think a lot of the capital I value most in terms of trying to make art is social. But like I really think the most valuable thing in terms of making art and continuing to make art and being able to grow your practice is the relationships that you have. That's what's been it's been like the biggest driver in like opening up opportunities and new experiences for me. I did fundraising for ODC before, and while I was there, I was working on campaigns that were bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is part of what helps keep ODC open as a space. And I really think having these large arts institutions do a lot for the community as a whole. They bring in a lot of talent. They open up spaces for people to make and share work. It's really what enables artists to be able to create. And so at ODC, I really felt like that had a super strong community focus. So that was something I really loved, like bringing in cash for that to be able to continue. Between all of these different things, studios, classes, performances, its own company, it's employing a ton of artists in some way throughout the community, musicians too, who are playing for the classes. And then it's also because of the way the buildings and space is set up, when you can actually interact with people in physical space, which you can't right now, but when you can, it provides free space to just hang out and be around each other, and just generally resources to connect with the community.
For the shows that I was working on, the main source of income was people coming to the show, showing up and paying to get in. And to me, that's a big issue because a lot of the people coming to the shows are broke artists as well. And maybe some other people who do have money to pay to get in. And that's not enough money to actually support what the artists are doing. When community is built by artists, that actually can lead to more capital in terms of money as well, and can lead to more enjoyment, creativity. That focusing on community building and focusing on support of friends and creativity and enjoyment, I think those actually are what draw people to an artist and an art form.
I work with and without money, without capital, without grants, without much income. And I've had also support, but where it really actually affects you is the amount of time you have. So if that means actually doing a job, I'm a pianist, so if that means actually showing up to a concert and having time to prepare for it, that's fine. If it means having done several of those and having the support of friends and community who recognize your contribution or your history, then that's capital. So those always are shifting, right? Because or your investment in your art, or engagement in a project, or funding, or your activities, always that they're never at the same point, are they? I don't think so, anyway.
I don't know what the future is gonna be, but I feel like I have an idea of what I want to keep doing in it. Like I don't know, I just want to keep making stuff, whatever the setting is.
I feel like I have more energy to funnel into the creative process and just letting, I don't feel like I have to shut down any sort of idea. I just can let it just idea vomit out of my imagination and kind of entertain it. Also just keep on making stuff.
I've thought a lot about how do we get more money to artists, and what's a way to do that? What's a creative way to do that given the way our city is set up, San Francisco and surrounding areas? And I think about how we have a lot of tech companies here, which a lot of people are very aware of. What if some of these companies could make it part of their business plan to give back to the arts? And one way to do that is to have a nonprofit that puts on shows with different artists around the city or the Bay Area. And the money could come from the tech companies or any other big industries here and be channeled to that nonprofit. And then the nonprofit could use that money to pay artists for their performances. And ideally, the shows could actually be free with donations going to other nonprofits. So there could be a way to raise money for other small nonprofits in the Bay Area. Through these shows, the artists would get paid. The people who are doing the work behind the scenes could get paid, and at fair wages. And a big component of it would be inclusion and diversity. That's my idea. So that's something I'm just putting out there, because if anyone wants to work on that, I would love to. People can contact me through my email, seaweedsway@gmail.com. Facebook, I'm on there, facebook.com/theseaweedsway. Instagram.com/seaweedsway. Those are all ways to contact me. I'm pretty reachable in any of those forms.
For the future, I know that people will be very engaged and happy to see our art world coming back, but I am concerned about the challenges that we're going to meet when we start doing the transition back into public performance. But I do see, I think that this is just naturally a cultural city and people are drawn to the energy of it. So I see that there's always going to be a really interesting musical culture here. Our symphonies, I've seen the symphony grow for the past 30 years that I've been here in amazing ways. And I've also seen the one thing that I've always hoped for was an integration of different types of art forms and different types of music and people from different backgrounds. And that's really something that gives me hope for the future. I have a website, AllisonLovejoy.com. I also have several recordings of both classical and original compositions on iTunes and Amazon and all of that. I also have a Facebook profile, Allison Lovejoy, pianist, and you'll see me playing concerts and presenting compositions throughout the Bay Area when we get back into the halls and venues.
We really wouldn't be the same without you. The city really, really, really appreciates you. So thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thanks for what you're doing. All right.
Thank you. Let's get some arts funded. Okay. Thank you, Jessie. Bye.
Bye.